Hey everyone, this is Hannah with the Rocket Miner giving you today's COVID-19 update. Today in Wyoming we are up to 513 confirmed cases, 162 probable cases, and 477 recovered cases. So when you put all those together, that means we have 198 active cases in our state, and that includes the confirmed and probable cases that are still active right now. The statewide Wyoming Community Foundation's COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund is helping address some of the needs and the demands for funds in nonprofit organizations throughout our entire state. And in just 4 weeks, this fund that was created by donations from individuals across Wyoming has granted $123,321 to 30 organizations statewide. And that includes organizations here in Sweetwater County, including the Boys and Girls Club of Sweetwater County, Golden Hour Senior Center, Rock Springs Young at Heart, and United Way of Southwest Wyoming. And I thought that was awesome to just hear about how our whole state is coming together to help raise money and give funds to nonprofits through this time, since they're especially important in getting resources to people and helping people with things that they need. And since it's such a hard time right now with people struggling to have the funds that they need to be able to keep providing those services, it's just great to see that this Response Recovery Fund was put together and that people all over the state are donating money that's going back into these organizations in our community that are helping people. And I was just encouraged to hear that. Throughout Wyoming, as we continue forward through the month of May, obviously different counties have different variances going on at different levels of what is reopening and what isn't in different places. Today we shared an interesting story from the Riverton Ranger that talked about what Riverton is doing and what Fremont County is doing. It said that after they reviewed an advanced copy of the new guidelines for reopening restaurants and bars on May 15th, Riverton Mayor Rich Gard met with the town's food and drink vendors Friday morning, urging personal accountability. So the mayor of Riverton met with people, and they're in Riverton and in Fremont, they're looking into their options for reopening, which I thought was interesting since Fremont County is one of the ones with one of the highest case numbers. As of today, they have 182 confirmed cases and 11 probable cases. But the mayor said that he thinks the numbers are skewed in Fremont County because he said that tribal access to tests is more prolific than other government systems. And he said that because Fremont County is home to the Wind River Indian Reservation and because their numbers are included in the Fremont County totals, that changes the numbers a little bit because he said that public access to tests is much higher on the reservation. So people have been talking about how the reservation has so many cases and their case numbers are higher, but this is also because they have more access to testing, so they're able to confirm those cases. So that is all being taken into consideration. Of course, different counties looking at different openings, and as we get closer towards May 15th and get closer to the changes in orders from the governor for the whole state, just looking into what is best for each county depending on where they're at with the virus. There's just a lot to keep in mind. Of course, we have to keep the test numbers in mind and remember that depending on how many tests are being done, that might make the numbers go up and look bigger. But then also in places where the numbers are smaller, it might be because there's less testing. That doesn't mean that there aren't active cases there, it's just maybe we don't know about all of them. So again, as with this whole time, we have to just keep that in mind, that knowing the numbers from the tests is helpful to see where we're at, but you have to consider how many tests are being done and then try to figure out where that leaves the county or each place with how many active cases are actually out there. And we just have to remember through this time that there are still active cases in Wyoming. There are lots that we know about and there are lots that we don't know about. And even as we start reopening and finding this new normal and figuring out these guidelines and figure out what we're doing, we have to remember that this doesn't mean the pandemic is over. It doesn't mean we don't have active cases. or that we can't continue to spread and get more active cases if we're not super careful. So those are just all things to keep in mind as each county and different people look into where we're going in the future with our reopenings. Tomorrow at 3, Governor Mark Gordon is going to be doing another media briefing. Of course, that'll be available to watch live on the Wyoming PBS Facebook and YouTube pages. We'll share it on our page. And tomorrow the governor will be joined by Secretary of State Edward Buchanan to provide updates on the 2020 election season and the opening this week of candidate filing. So you can watch that tomorrow, and we'll share more information about that then. And today, in some national news, just to end, I wanted to say that it was definitely an interesting day for Broadway fans. I am a huge Broadway fan, musical fan, so all of my news feed today was full of Broadway news because there was some sad news and some good news. The Broadway League announced today that New York City's Broadway theaters will remain closed through at least September 6th. So they're issuing people refunds if they had tickets up to that point. And then when they get to September, they'll reevaluate whether or not they can open those theaters. Obviously, New York has been hit harder than a lot of places in our country. So they're still being very careful and still under a lot of restrictions, being careful about when they open up. So that is definitely sad news for Broadway fans, that it'll be even longer than a lot of us expected before they're able to reopen and get back to doing the shows. But there was also good news today, as Lin-Manuel Miranda announced that the filmed version of Hamilton will be available to stream on July 3rd on Disney+. And Hamilton, for those who don't know, is a Tony Award winning musical about the founding of our nation. It's interesting because it uses rap and hip hop and different styles of music to tell the story of our history and of our nation's founding. But it's a really incredible musical that's become really popular and well known. And we knew that there was a filmed version of it with the original cast that hadn't been released yet. We thought we would have to wait longer to see it, but Lin-Manuel Miranda is so gracious and has been so open during this time and trying to encourage people and give people content when he thinks it will be helpful. So they made the decision that they were going to release this Hamilton recording early, which I think will be encouraging and fun for everyone. So I know it's not till July, but definitely check that out. Whether you're a big Hamilton fan or have never heard of it, I think people would enjoy watching that. So that's all I had for today. Thank you for listening, and we'll keep giving you more updates. Have a good night.